Um, that's an interesting question, and I think it's a complicated question to ask. I mean, I think HBCUs, like most institutions in higher education, there's certainly a diversity in terms of the status of them. Some are strong and some are not so strong, but I think they mirror what's happening in higher education in general. I like to think and really believe that the HBCUs in North Carolina are probably in better shape than HBCUs in other states around the country. And I think that's probably because we have a mixture of state-supported institutions as well as private institutions, and those private institutions are one that have a deep, rich history, and alumni really kind of support those. And where they're located in those cities tend to support them very well. They tend to be in major cities, Raleigh, Charlotte, and so forth. So overall, I would say that the HBCUs in North Carolina are relatively strong. I think they're probably even more important today than ever before, and they're more important today because of the history and tradition in which they were founded. When we think about HBCUs, the reason why they exist was because there was no place for African Americans to go to receive a higher education, and so these institutions had to be created. But they were created out of a sense of substance and excellence. They were created by making sure that individuals who came to those institutions received a very high quality education. So you got a history of excellence built into these institutions. And so as times have changed and the world has become more diverse and open up, opportunities are there for folks to go and receive an education anywhere that they want to receive an education. And they're relevant because we have a history and tradition of those individuals who came to HBCUs. There's legacies involved in that. If your mother or father went to an HBCU or Winston-Salem State University, it is quite likely that you would also want to go to that university as well. So those institutions have built a legacy and a history associated with them. The biggest misconception that I think is something that we have to change culturally. People think of HBCUs as black institutions. And I think that's the biggest misconception that we have in this country when people think about HBCUs. The foundation on which this university was founded by Simon Green Atkins, when they asked him in 1892 what kind of institution did he want to create and what would he teach at that institution for recently emancipated slaves. And he simply said, well, what did they teach at Harvard? So wanting to create an institution where you deliver a wonderful high quality education, that's what these institutions are about.